The Pale King was once the ruler of Hallownest, but by the events of Hollow Knight, he's nowhere to be seen. When the knight eventually finds him, he is dead on his throne in the White Palace. Higher beings can die, but what exactly happened to this one? What clues can we use to determine the cause of his death? First, we can look at the condition of the king's corpse. The throne room is very dark, and there seem to be black particles floating around. If dream-nailed, his final thoughts are revealed to have been no cost too great, the same thing he says about the sacrifice of the vessels in the birthplace memory sequence. My guess as to what happened to the king is that it was some altercation involving void. The biggest indicator is the black particles, which resemble void, but there is other evidence present as well. When he died, the king was thinking about something he likely came to regret, and void embodies regrets, which may have attracted the void to him somehow. On the way up to the throne, there are the collapsed shells of several king's molds. Outside the palace, its anchor to the physical world is another now dead king's mold, this one with large void tendrils escaping its shell and leading into the ground. What isn't clear about the palace grounds king's mold is whether the void was seeping out of the king's mold or into it. Both possibilities present hypothetical scenarios in which the king could have been killed. If the void was seeping into the king's mold, that could have been the void's means of going from the abyss into the dream realm where the White Palace was located. This may have been brought on by the Pale King thinking hard about his regrets. The void tendrils reaching into the king's mold corpse could have reached all the way to his throne room and killed him. If the void was seeping out of the king's mold, the same thing may have happened to multiple king's molds in the palace, including the ones whose shells are found leading up to the throne. The void inside the king's molds may have forced its way out deliberately, was drawn out by the Pale King's regrets, or it simply couldn't be contained within the shells forever. The existence of the collector in its current form may be a possible indicator of this. In any case, the king's molds would likely have attacked the king and maybe even killed him. The position of his corpse doesn't exactly indicate that there was any struggle, so the king may have either not been able to fight back, or he was so deep in regret that he simply didn't care to. Whether his foresight would have alerted him to his death before it happened, we can't be sure. However the Pale King's death may have happened, it definitely has its place in the story thematically. When his plan to seal the Radiance and contain the infection failed, he locked himself away, and his kingdom died, and he along with it. The knight is left to pick up the broken pieces of the world that their parents left behind. Although the king tried to harness the void, it eventually came for him, along with and possibly because of his own regrets. The knight is then given the power and opportunity to use the void to destroy the force that caused the kingdom's ruin to begin with, resolving things in a way that their predecessors never could. What do you think of my speculations? How do you believe the Pale King died, and what role does his death have in the game's narrative? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching this video. I make videos on plenty of other media besides Hollow Knight, so be sure to check those out too. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.